Welcome back for this second session today, starting at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. First of all, we're going to present the Consolidated Scientific Infrastructure Support FOA, which includes from the past the GSI as well as the reactor upgrade programs, and then we're going to proceed into mostly fuel cycle program work scope descriptions the rest of the afternoon, with one reactor concept at the end, and then continue tomorrow with additional presentations for the work scopes as well as the IRPs. So this afternoon, this general FOA will be presented by Aaron Gravel and Greg Belay. Aaron?
Good afternoon. My name is Aaron Gravel, and I work at the Department of Energy Idaho Operations Office as a contract specialist, and will be, for the purposes of this FOA, will be the grants administrator, and as we get ready to get this solicitation out to you folks. This is the FY14 Scientific Infrastructure Support for CINR, and our FOA number, and we'll repeat it a couple different times in the presentation, is DE FOA 0000999. Just another refresher, just a reminder here on how to ask questions during this webinar. You can go to the question field on your GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar software and type in your questions there. If your question does not get answered during this webinar presentation, it will be captured and will be answered in writing, and those will be posted at the NEIP.gov website. And specific questions on individual eligibility should be addressed offline. What we'll be covering this afternoon for this FOA is just doing a quick FOA overview for you. Also talking about reactor upgrades and GSI. We'll be identifying key changes in this FY14 FOA, linking any R&D with GSI proposals, and then finish up with the review process, tools, and submissions. This funding opportunity announcement is for scientific infrastructure support for consolidated innovative nuclear research and reactor upgrades for the research community, and is referred to in this document as the infrastructure FOA. So that's how you'll see it referenced in the FOA document. The Department of Energy's Office of Nuclear Energy conducts cross-cutting nuclear energy research and development and associated infrastructure support activities to develop innovative technologies that offer the promise of dramatically improved performance for advanced reactors and fuel cycle concepts while maximizing the impact of DOE resources. The infrastructure requested should be individual, discrete, and definable items or capabilities that will support, maintain, or enhance the institution's capabilities to attract and teach high-quality students interested in nuclear energy-related studies, build the institution's research or educational capabilities, or enhance the institution's capabilities to perform R&D that is relevant to DOE-NE's mission. The objective is to promote efficiency and the effective use of resources, and that's why this is a consolidated FOA. It presents all anticipated DOE-NE funding opportunities at once, allows integration of deadlines to enable better planning, and also presents opportunities to request funding from multiple program elements to maximize research dollars. Some of the highlights of this FOA: the funding mechanism will be grants, and for universities it'll be grants, and those will be issued out of the DOE Idaho Operations Office. And for national laboratories, the field work proposal will be used, and that will also be administered out of the Idaho Operations Office. New funding opportunities: the reactor upgrade section combines major and minor reactor upgrade categories. and the general scientific infrastructure is open to universities and national laboratories. You can find this FOA document. It'll be posted on Thursday, the 31st of this month, and you can find it on grants.gov. And again, referencing the number DE FOA 0000999. You will also apply for this funding opportunity announcement and for the grant through grants.gov. Some important dates for you to mark down. Again, we're going to release this FOA on Thursday, October 31st, and all applications in all areas of this FOA are due April 3rd, 2014. It's a typo on the slide there. The FOA is organized in two areas. Area 1 is the university reactor upgrades infrastructure support, which combines the major and minor reactor upgrades. And Area 2 is the general scientific infrastructure support for universities and national laboratories. University general scientific infrastructure and national laboratory general scientific infrastructure for Area 2. The university reactor upgrades award size, the maximum individual award, is $3 million, but the expected award range will be $250,000 to $1.5 million, and DOE is anticipating to award smaller awards. The period of performance for these grants is 1 year, and only universities on the current TRTR fueling list for eligibility, and then estimated funding level is approximately $3 million total. For general scientific infrastructure, the award size, the maximum DO funding per individual award is $1 million. The estimated award size, however, is $300,000. And eligibility here is universities and national laboratories are both eligible to submit applications. One application per academic institution can be submitted without the need to link that application to the CINR R&D application. Multiple applications can be submitted by an academic institution if those additional applications are linked to a CINR R&D application. And university cost match is one for one, dollar for dollar, which is a requirement after $250,000 or anything above $250,000. Eligibility continued. National laboratories can submit a total of 2 applications per institution, one each in the following need areas: advanced sensors and instrumentation and reactor materials. And national laboratories cannot link R&D, NEAT, and GSI applications. And the estimated total funding level is approximately $3.5 million. Some key changes to this funding opportunity announcement. Each academic institution may submit multiple applications. All applications, with the exception of one, must be linked to the CINR R&D application. TRTR listed university reactors are the only reactors eligible for university reactor upgrades. Institutions are responsible for not exceeding the submission limit. And universities have a dollar for dollar cost match requirement in GSI above the $250,000 limit. And national laboratories can compete in NEAT infrastructure areas. As far as cost sharing and cost matching, cost sharing is encouraged but is not required in any part of this FOA. And for cost match is required on university GSI projects that exceed $250,000, dollar for dollar matching requirement up to the project ceiling of $1 million. So for example, $300,000 application would require a $50,000 university cost match, making the project total $350,000. The anticipated award range will be around $300,000. I'll now turn the time over to to Greg Blay, who's the manager of the NEUP Integration Office.
Thank you, Aaron. I'd like to once again visit with you about the processes and protocols available for responding to this funding opportunity announcement. As Aaron indicated, applications will come into grants.gov as they have in the past. Mediation will be, review will be mediated through the NEUP Integration Office, and we'll talk about those criteria. Much like the research and development funding opportunity announcement, we'd certainly like to encourage you to link applications between this opportunity announcement and that one. This one seeks applications from U.S. universities as well as national laboratories. And the research and development FOA seeks applications from universities, national laboratories, and industry. Linking those proposals certainly facilitates DOE to enhance the mission tie and the focus of their equipment purchases with the GSI funds that they have, and the ability of researchers to coordinate and enhance research proposals with equipment that they might purchase off of this FOA enhances your ability to perform that research or perhaps pick up additional pieces of equipment. Again, common with the R&D FOA, if you find yourself in need of equipment that is in addition to what you would request during the R&D application, you certainly can do so by linking your application. Both must be affirmed by a separate review for either one to receive funding. To do so, in order to link your proposal, you simply need to affirm that when you submit your application. This would be specific to your R&D application. There's nothing that you will need to do with your GSI application. However, if your institution submits multiple GSI applications, all of them except for one must be linked to research and development. And again, I just want to remind you that success is predicated on a positive review by both program elements. We certainly anticipate that your need for equipment would be immediate and it would be of use and importance for your proposed research. The review process, the tools, and the submission is all consistent with your experience of the past. You will submit to grants.gov. You will then be reviewed in a panel format that's comprised of at least 2 federal and 3 peer reviewers. We've defined the review criteria here. They are also available in the funding opportunity announcement. We judge you on impact, which is 40% of your score, use, which is 30% of your score, and project implementation, which is 30% of your score. We have given you the full criteria there in terms of what our intended meaning is of the terms impact, use, and implementation. Additional review information can be found in Part 5 of the funding opportunity announcement, and we anticipate that document will be available this Thursday. Contact information. Questions in terms of the FOA or how you can aid your submission process can be addressed to neup@inl.gov. Questions specific to grants.gov will be addressed there at their website at support@grants.gov. And if you have questions on procurement, you can address those to Aaron at the address that we've listed on the page. With that, I'd like to go ahead and invite Aaron back to the podium in addition to John Gilligan, and we can certainly answer questions for you if you have any.
Where can I find the TRTR list of reactors?
You can go to, there's a TRTR website. You can just Google TRTR and go to their website and see what the listing of the reactors are there. Or there's an NRC list too.
We'll also post a link to that at neub.gov. We'll get that through the Idaho Project Office.
I believe this is an R&D question. Can the PI be a U.S. resident, or do you have to be a U.S. citizen?
You do not have to be a U.S. citizen to apply, but you certainly must be in good standing at your university, and any export compliance is purview of the university.
For GSI applications, do we submit to grants.gov, or are they submitted through NEUP?
Say the question again, the first part.
Are GSI applications submitted to grants.gov or NEUP.gov?
They'll be submitted through grants.gov.
This is the same mechanism that you've used in the past for those who have submitted to either of our reactor areas or the general scientific infrastructure. This is not a change.
Let me just speak to that real quick. I didn't mention there is a registration process for grants.gov that you'll need to, if you're not registered, you'll want to go ahead and look into that now. It does take some time, and there's adequate helps there to help you through that process. Also, in order for you to get the updates to the modification or to the FOAs, if there's any modifications that we'll do, those will come through FedConnect, and we need you to register in FedConnect. There's also some helps out there to help you through that. If you have any questions or run into any problems with that, feel free to give me an email, and I'll point you in the right direction so that we can get you registered there. Along with that, there's also a requirement for you to have access to a DUNS number and also have your CCR updated, which is your central contractor registry, and you'll have to have that as well, and that's explained in the FOA document. Again, if you have any questions about registration for any of these items or you need any help, just let us know, and we'll point you in the right direction and try to help you get those registrations so you can have the latest and greatest information.
Any other questions out there? We're going to hold here for a while to see if there are additional questions at this point. We'll hold here for just one more minute or so, and then we'll sign out until our next presentation, which is at 2 o'clock. So we've got about a 40-minute break here. Those that want to join us for the fuel cycle presentations, please see the schedule on our neup.gov website, along with a description of the work scopes, so to become familiar. And this is when you can ask all of your detailed questions regarding the work scopes for the R&D.
The slide in the presentation says April 2013. There was a typo. It's April 3rd, 2014.
That is correct.
That's right. Sorry about that.
Other than export control concerns, are there other restrictions on grad students and postdocs' nationality?
There are not for infrastructure. These are dollars that go to the university. However, in the FOA, there is a eligibility restriction. If you have had a past award and you have more than $250,000 of work that has not been done, you are ineligible to compete in this year's FOA.
Greg, would you like to address the R&D FOA as well? I believe it was for both.
Oh, you do not have to be a U.S. citizen, is that the question, to participate in the R&D FOA.
I'll repeat the question for the R&D. Other than export control concerns, are there other restrictions on grad student and postdoc nationality?
You cannot be a denied party.
Can you clarify the number of limitations on PI and co-PI for R&D projects? If someone is listed as a collaborator, should the limitations be applied to that person?
You can be on 6 proposals total. You can be on up to three as a principal investigator and up to 6 as a co-investigator or collaborator. So for a total of 6 proposals, 3 of those you may be a principal. And I'll remind you that we do have a flow sheet tool located at naup.gov that will help you navigate the eligibility requirements. And you have specific questions, certainly reach out, give us a call.
We found the restrictions not to be so restrictive for most people, and it prevented individual PIs from flooding the market with spurious kind of pre-applications in many different work scopes that were not relevant. So the limitation is not so great, and certainly, but choose your targets very well. Choose your work scopes that you're applying to very well to maximize your success. You can talk with the TPOCs, the contract managers at DOE, and make sure you're zeroing in on the right kind of work scope.
Mike, you may want to answer this question. For the purpose of counting pre-proposals from institutions, how will the NEET 2 pre-proposals be counted since there are several sub-areas?
I'm Mike Worley, the NEET Cross-Cutting Technology Development Program Manager. And the answer to the question is the limit that is explained in the FOA is targeting the overall sub-area, meaning the limits per organization is tied to NEET 1 as a whole, NEET 2 as a whole, or NEET 3 as a whole, not per project. So please, each institution, all their applications targeting, for example, NEET 2 as a whole should limit themselves to the limits that are explained in the solicitation.
So again, regarding the GSI, you can submit 1 GSI per university with the addition of other applications if they're tied to a R&D project. So each university is going to have to police that and make sure that they don't go over the top on general applications that are not tied to an R&D. We'll figure it out on our end, but we don't want you to waste your time.
No, the question here in the room was asked if that was a one-to-one relationship for those proposals that are tied, and indeed it is. You may have 1 GSI application per R&D application, not a many-to-one, which would be many GSI applications to a single R&D application. So that relationship is a one-to-one. Thank you, Kevin.
Good question.